like the ash blues. Well, I find for the ultimate lift, I'd like to use 8T and 10 ash blue. Equal parts of 8T and 10 ash blue when applied to level 5-6 hair. And use them with 30 volumes. And leave it on 1 hour on those roots. You get a beautiful cool blonde shade. Gorgeous. I also like 6NN and 8T for a darker blonde base. It's very creamy. On level 4 and level 5, especially, you get a beautiful, beautiful result. I used to, as I said, 8T and 10 ash blue really do a super, make a nice pale blonde that's very ashy. But leave it on 1 hour at room temperature. If you're going for really high lifted blondes and you want to make somebody as close as you can to a level, you know, the lightest you can get them, remember this, guys. When you're working with any color of permanent dye in any brand, but particularly with anything high lift, while lift and deposit are simultaneous, at the beginning of any permanent dye service, the first thing you're going to get is lift. You'll get very little deposit. About halfway in, lift and deposit are happening simultaneously. Toward the end of the processing period, toward the end of that hour, most of the lift has stopped, but depositing is really kicking in. And guess what, guys? That's what people do when they think the hair looks light enough and they rinse it off too fast. The lady likes the hair the day it's done, and she calls a week later and says her hair is brassy because the product was not finished toning the hair. Okay? So really important when you're lifting with anybody's high lift blonde, or even with the level 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, keep it on an hour. You know, leave it on an hour and blaze the hair shafts at 10 to 15 minutes at the end. Now, if you don't have an assistant, you put on your retouch like this, and then you go back with the brush and you tap it yourself as soon as the retouch is on. That is not going to allow one hair on this nape or one hair in this head not to be completely and perfectly covered, because the lady is paying for beautiful gray coverage, and you don't want it to be sloppy to look like she did it at home. Most people take far too big a section. You'll notice I'm taking a 1/8 of an inch section, the way I would if I were doing a bleach retouch, right? And you just need a touch of your bleach retouch. This cannot go on with a bowling brush. The woman has a short retouch. You put on a short retouch like this with a bowling brush, the overlapping is so big, that's when you get the spots.
Beth, why is it that sometimes the hair color is evaporated or gets sucked in, or whatever happens to the color when it just dries like that on certain clients?
Dry?
Well, you apply a section and then you go to the next section and then you go back to that previous section and it's like it disappeared.
I don't know. I don't know. I would say maybe the hair is just so porous, or you missed a spot. You notice how I take 1/8 of an inch sections, how tiny this is? And Gianna's brushing to check horizontally. Now, okay, where's my low lighting solution, my teacher stuff? Somebody who just needs to. So now Gianna and I are going to start working. Let's low light this hair. Here we go. This is the fun part. Why are they all short?
It breaks. Somehow they constantly breaks. It's never well.
Breaking.
To modify that.
That's even better than what I had. So, why would you think that? Then they would what?
That's not true.
Well, the demi-permanent color is not as strong as the permanent dye that's on the roof. And you as a colorist, you and your salon have to have great hair color. If your hair color is not good, it's like a dentist with rotten teeth. It's like a dentist, would you go like, you know, to a cosmetologist, a lady to get a facial and she has giant zits all over? No. It wouldn't make you feel proud. Like, oh God, if I were her. Here's what I have to think about your hair. If concentrate most of the low lights on the side and toward the back.
Just one of the other girls, she thought I should be lighter for the summer. Because I was a 6. She brought me back, brought me up to the 7.
Yeah, with your brown eyes, you need a little more red. Vertical sectioning again.
You don't find that using a bottle, I mean, when we switched over to the brush, people were saying, you know, as far as the bottle, anything, and where I am.
But I believe that when you move it, look the way Gio's brushing this in right behind me. I don't think they can do this at home. Also, they cannot do the floor. They cannot have the eye.
I have that on video.
Yeah, that's right. The mess. Convertible head. Big full silver.